God, I am scared. I'm scared because I don't know what's next. I'm scared because the weight of this moment feels too heavy. I'm scared because every time I think I'm making progress, life hits me again and again and again. But I refuse to let fear win. See, fear wants me to stop. Fear wants me to stay stuck. Fear wants me to give up before I even start. But I came here today to tell somebody fear is a liar. God, I know you didn't bring me this far just to leave me. You didn't plant this vision in my heart just to watch me fail. You didn't give me this fight just to see me fold. So even though I'm scared, I'm still going. I'm going to wake up and chase my dreams even when doubt whispers in my ear. I'm going to push forward even when my legs shake and my voice trembles. I'm going to trust you even when I don't understand the plan. Because here's the truth. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is when you show up scared, broken, unsure, but you show up anyway. Somebody in this room needs to hear this. You can't quit. You didn't come this far to stop. Now, yes, it's hard. Yes, it's scary. Yes, it feels like you don't have anything left. But hear me, you are stronger than you think. I don't know who I'm talking to, but you've been asking God for a sign. This is it. Keep fighting, keep believing, keep trusting. Your breakthrough is closer than you think. So yeah, I'm scared, but I'm moving forward. Yeah, I'm scared. Oh, but I'm not quitting. Yeah, I'm scared. But I know God is with me. And if God is with me, fear has no place here. So today I choose faith over fear. Today I choose purpose over comfort. Today I choose to walk like I've already won, because with God on my side, I have. Fear's a liar. It whispers in your ear when you're about to take that first step. It tells you you're not good enough, not smart enough, not strong enough. It makes you question everything, your talent, your ability, your worth. Fear doesn't care about your dreams, your hard work, or your sacrifices. It only has one job: to stop you. And if you let it, it will. Fear shows up in many forms. Sometimes it looks like hesitation. You tell yourself you're just waiting for the right moment, the perfect time, the ideal situation. But deep down, you know the truth. Fear has you in a chokehold. It's convincing you that you need more preparation, more reassurance, more time. But the longer you wait, the stronger fear becomes. The longer you hesitate, the harder it is to break free. Other times, fear disguises itself as logic. It sounds reasonable. It says, what if you fail? What if you embarrass yourself? What if you lose everything you worked for? It presents itself as wisdom, as caution, as common sense. But understand this, there is a difference between being wise and being paralyzed. Wisdom prepares you. Fear stops you. Wisdom says, plan your steps. Fear says, don't take them. You have to recognize the difference. And let's be real. Fear isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a whisper in the back of your mind, a feeling in your gut that makes you second guess yourself, a small voice that plants doubt right when you're about to step into something great. You don't even realize it's fear. You think you're just being careful, but in reality, you're letting fear run the show. Fear doesn't want you to know the truth. The truth is, fear only has as much power as you give it. Fear feeds on hesitation, on doubt, on insecurity. The more you entertain it, the bigger it grows. But the moment you stand up to it, the moment you refuse to back down, fear loses its grip, because fear is a coward. It thrives in darkness, in uncertainty, in indecision. But when you bring it into the light, when you face it head on, it crumbles. Think about it. How many times in your life have you been afraid of something only to realize later that it wasn't as bad as you thought? How many times have you avoided an opportunity, a conversation, a challenge because fear told you it would be too hard? And how many times have you looked back and regretted letting fear win? Fear loves regret. It wants you to sit in your room years from now thinking about all the things you could have done, should have done, but didn't because you were scared. It wants you to wonder what would have happened if you had just taken that risk, just gone after that goal, just believed in yourself a little more. That's what fear wants, to keep you stuck, trapped in a cycle of doubt and hesitation. But here's the truth. Fear is a liar. It tells you you're not ready, but you are. It tells you you don't have what it takes, but you do. It tells you that failure is the end, but failure is just a lesson. Fear wants you to think that stepping out is dangerous, that taking risks is foolish. But what's more dangerous, trying and failing, or never trying at all? What's more foolish, taking a leap or standing still while life passes you by? Fear will tell you that other people are watching, that they'll laugh if you mess up. But those same people, they're too busy dealing with their own fears to worry about yours. Fear will make you believe that you have to be perfect before you start. But perfection is a myth, and waiting for it will only keep you stuck. The most successful people in the world, they feel fear just like you do. The difference is they don't let it stop them. They move forward despite the fear. They understand that fear is part of the process, that fear never truly goes away. It just loses its power when you stop feeding it. Fear wants to keep you comfortable, but comfort is the enemy of growth. Nothing great happens in your comfort zone. Nothing life-changing, nothing extraordinary, nothing that fulfills your purpose. Staying comfortable means staying the same. And if you stay the same, you'll never become who you were meant to be. Fear will tell you to wait until you feel ready, but you will never feel fully ready. That's the trick fear plays on you. It makes you think you need more preparation, more knowledge, more experience. But the truth is, readiness comes from action. You become ready by doing, by stepping into the unknown, by taking the first step even when you're shaking. Fear doesn't want you to start because it knows that once you start, you'll realize you were stronger than you thought. It knows that once you take action, its grip on you will loosen. Fear knows that once you prove to yourself that you can face it, it won't have the same power over you. So it fights. It throws every excuse at you. It makes you doubt yourself. It reminds you of every past failure, every insecurity, every reason why you shouldn't move forward. But you have to fight back. You have to push through. You have to remind yourself that fear is not real. It's just a story you've been telling yourself. And just like you told yourself that story, you can write a new one. You can choose to believe a different narrative. You can choose to believe that you are capable, that you're worthy, that you have everything you need to succeed. You can choose to believe that even if you fail, you will get back up, that even if things don't go as planned, you will adjust, you will learn, you will grow. Because here's the thing, fear will never disappear completely. It will always try to creep in, but it doesn't have to control you. You don't have to listen to it. You don't have to let it dictate your choices, your future, your life. You have a decision to make. Do you let fear win? Do you let it keep you from your purpose, your calling, your dreams? Or do you stand up, look fear in the face, and move forward anyway? Courage is not about being fearless. It's about showing up even when fear is screaming in your ears. It's about taking that first step even when your legs feel like they might give out beneath you. It's about walking into the unknown, knowing you don't have all the answers, knowing you might stumble, but choosing to move anyway. That's real courage. Not the absence of fear, but the decision to keep going in spite of it. Most people think courage means confidence. They think the people who succeed are the ones who feel sure of themselves, the ones who don't doubt, the ones who walk into every situation like they own it. But that's not the truth. The truth is the strongest, most successful people in the world still feel fear. The difference is they don't let it paralyze them. They feel the fear, acknowledge it, and push forward regardless. Courage is built through action. The first time you step outside of your comfort zone, it feels impossible. It feels like the fear is too big, like you don't have what it takes. But when you take that step anyway, something shifts. You realize the fear didn't kill you. You realize you survived. And the next time, it gets a little easier. Not because the fear is gone, but because you've proven to yourself that you can handle it. Think about a baby learning to walk. The first few steps are wobbly, unsteady, uncertain. They fall, they get back up, they fall again, but they don't stop trying. They don't think about how many times they've fallen. They just keep getting up. And one day, those wobbly steps turn into a steady walk. Then that walk turns into a run. That's what courage looks like. You don't start out strong. You don't start out knowing exactly what you move anyway. And eventually that movement becomes power. Most people wait for fear to disappear before they take action. They wait for the right moment, the perfect conditions, the confidence to come naturally. But that's not how it works. Confidence is a byproduct of action. You don't feel confident and then start. You start, and through the process, you build confidence. If you sit around waiting for fear to fade, you'll be waiting forever. Fear will never fully leave you because every time you grow, every time you step into something new, fear will show up again. It will try to convince you that you're not ready, that you're not capable, that you should turn back. But if you've built courage, you'll know better. You'll recognize fear for what it is, a test of how badly you want it, a test of how willing you are to step up. And when you push past it, you prove to yourself that fear has no real power. Courage is also about doing things before you feel like you're ready. If you wait until you feel completely prepared, you'll never start. No one ever feels 100% ready for the things that truly matter. The people who go after their dreams, the people who take big risks, the people who achieve great things, they do it before they feel ready. They do it scared. They do it uncertain. They do it while their hands are shaking and their voice is trembling. And because they do it scared, because they take action despite the fear, they become strong. There will always be a reason not to start. There will always be doubts, obstacles, and excuses. But courage means shutting all of that out and taking action anyway. It means silencing the voice in your head that tells you to wait. It means proving to yourself that you can handle whatever comes next. You don't need all the answers. You don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to take the next step. One of the biggest lies people believe is that they need motivation to take action. They think they have to feel inspired before they move. But motivation is unreliable. Some days you'll feel it, and some days you won't. If you rely on motivation, you'll only move when it's convenient. But courage isn't about convenience. Courage is about discipline. It's about deciding that no matter how you feel, no matter how scared you are, no matter how uncertain things seem, you will keep going. Courage is also about ignoring the opinions of others. Fear loves to use people's voices against you. It loves to make you think that everyone is watching, that everyone is waiting for you to fail. But the truth is, most people are too focused on their own fears to be concerned about yours. And even if they are watching, even if they are judging, their opinions don't change your purpose. Their doubts don't define your ability. Courage means stepping forward even when others don't believe in you. It means trusting yourself even when no one else does. There will be moments where fear tells you to quit, moments where it feels like you're not making progress, moments where the journey seems too hard, too long, too painful. But courage isn't just about starting, it's about continuing. It's about getting up every day and choosing to move forward, even when it's tough. It's about refusing to let setbacks define you. It's about understanding that every failure is just a lesson, every obstacle is just a stepping stone, every challenge is just another opportunity to prove to yourself that you are stronger than you think. Courage also means embracing discomfort. Growth doesn't happen in comfort zones. Strength isn't built through easy moments. Every time you push through fear, every time you face a challenge head on, you become more resilient. You become more capable. You become the version of yourself that fear tried to convince you didn't exist. But that version of you was always there. You just had to be willing to step into it. The biggest mistake people make is thinking they need to eliminate fear before they can succeed. But fear doesn't need to disappear. You just need to move forward in spite of it. You need to recognize that fear is a natural part of growth, that every successful person you admire has faced fear, that the only difference between those who succeed and those who don't is the willingness to act even when they're scared. Every time you choose courage, you take your power back. Every time you push past fear, you weaken its hold on you. every time you take action, despite the doubt, despite the uncertainty, despite the fear, you prove to yourself that fear is nothing but a barrier standing between you and your potential. And the only way to break through that barrier is to refuse to let fear decide your future. And God didn't bring you this far to leave you. Every step you've taken, every challenge you faced, every obstacle that tried to break you, it was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to shape you, to mold you, to prepare you for something greater, because there is a purpose for your life. And even in the moments when you feel lost, even when you don't see the way forward, even when it feels like everything is falling apart, God is still in control. There are times when life doesn't make sense, times when the pain feels unbearable, times when you cry out asking why things had to happen the way they did. You look around and wonder why you're struggling while others seem to have it easier. You question if you're on the right path, if all the work you've put in is even worth it, if the sacrifices you've made are leading anywhere. But just because you don't see the full picture doesn't mean there isn't a masterpiece in the making. Think about all the times you thought you wouldn't make it, the moments you felt like giving up, the nights you laid in bed overwhelmed, exhausted, wondering if things would ever get better. But you're still here. You made it through. It didn't break you. It didn't take you out. And if you made it through before, what makes you think you won't make it through this? Sometimes God allows us to go through the fire, not to burn us, but to refine, to strip away everything that's not meant for us, to remove the doubts, the fears, the insecurities that keep us from stepping into who we were created to be. It's in the struggle that we grow. It's in the hardship that we develop strength. It's in the pain that we find purpose. But in those moments, we have to trust, we have to believe that even when things don't make sense, there is still a plan at work. Faith is easy when everything is going right, when the money's coming in, when the opportunities are flowing, when the path is clear. But faith is tested in the darkness. It's tested in the waiting season. It's tested when you're doing everything right and still facing opposition, when you're praying, but the answer hasn't come yet, when you're pushing forward, but the doors aren't opening. That's when you have to decide, do you trust God or do you only trust him when things are easy? There's a reason you've been through what you've been through, a reason you had to endure the losses, the heartbreaks, the struggles that no one else saw, a reason you've had to fight battles that others couldn't even imagine, because God is preparing you for something bigger than what you can see right now. He's building endurance in you. He's strengthening your character. He's shaping you into someone who can handle the blessing that's coming. You weren't meant for an ordinary life. That's why your journey hasn't been ordinary. That's why you faced trials that made you question everything. That's why you've had to walk through seasons of isolation, of struggle, of uncertainty, because the greater the calling, the greater the preparation. And preparation isn't comfortable. Growth isn't easy. But the struggles you faced aren't for nothing. They are positioning you for something greater. There have been moments where you felt abandoned, moments where you wondered if God had forgotten about you, moments where you prayed for answers, but all you got was silence. But silence doesn't mean absence. Just because you don't hear him doesn't mean he's not working. Just because you don't see progress doesn't mean things aren't moving behind the scenes. Some of the biggest breakthroughs come after the longest periods of waiting. Some of the greatest transformations happen when it looks like nothing is changing. You may not understand why you had to go through certain things, why certain people walked away, why certain doors closed, why certain dreams didn't work out the way you expected. But sometimes what looks like rejection is actually protection. Sometimes what feels like a setback is actually a setup for something greater. Sometimes God is redirecting you because he sees what you can't see, because he knows that what's ahead is better than what you are holding on to. There will be moments when you feel tired, when the journey feels too long, when it seems like the finish line is nowhere in sight. And in those moments, you will be tempted to quit, to settle, to stop believing. But this is not the time to give up. This is the time to press in. Because right when you're about to break, right when you're about to throw in the towel, That's usually when your breakthrough is the closest. God didn't bring you this far to leave you. He didn't put that dream in your heart just to watch it die. He didn't give you that vision just to let it fade. But sometimes before he gives you the blessing, he has to make sure you're ready for it. He has to make sure that when the opportunity comes, you won't doubt yourself. That when the door opens, you'll have the courage to walk through it. That when the moment arrives, you won't shrink back in fear. Everything you've been through has been preparing you for what's ahead. Every struggle, every lesson, every test, it's been making you stronger. It's been teaching you resilience. It's been developing the character you need to sustain the success that's coming. Because getting the blessing is one thing, but being able to keep it, being able to handle it, being able to carry it without crumbling, that's what really matters. You might feel like you're at your breaking point, like you've been faithful, but nothing is changing. Like you've been patient, but the answer hasn't come. But delays are not denials. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't happen. Just because you don't see the way doesn't mean there isn't one. Just because the road has been difficult doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. Sometimes the struggle is proof that you're on the right track. There are moments when you will feel alone, when it seems like no one understands what you're going through, when the people you thought would support you are nowhere to be found. But even when others leave, God remains. Even when people doubt you, God still believes in you. Even when you don't feel strong enough, God is still giving you the strength to keep going. What you're facing right now is not the end of your story. It's not the final chapter. It's just a season, and seasons change. Struggles don't last forever. Pain doesn't last forever. Storms don't last forever. But if you quit now, you'll never see what was on the other side of this. If you stop fighting now, you'll never know how close you were to the victory. You've come too far to turn back now. You fought too hard to give up now. You've survived too much to settle now. And no matter what it looks like, no matter how hard it gets, no matter how uncertain things seem, one thing is for sure. God didn't bring you this far to leave you. Fear has a voice. It whispers in the back of your mind when you're alone. It tells you that you're not good enough, that you're not strong enough, that you don't have what it takes. It reminds you of every failure, every mistake, every moment of doubt. It plays those memories like a broken record, hoping you'll believe the lie that you'll never be more than what you are right now. But fear is a liar. It survives on your hesitation, on your insecurity, on your willingness to listen to it. And the only way to silence it is to move, to act, to step forward even when you don't feel ready. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. Most people don't fail because they aren't capable. They fail because they let fear stop them before they even begin. They let the fear of failure, the fear of judgment, the fear of the unknown keep them stuck in the same place. They have dreams, but they never chase them. They have ideas, but they never act on them. They live their entire lives waiting for the right moment, the perfect conditions, the guarantee of success. But fear will always find a reason to keep you where you are. It will always give you an excuse, always make you question yourself, always tell you that now is not the time. But if not now, then when? Fear has no real power. It doesn't control your actions. It doesn't make your decisions. It only has the influence that you allow it to have. It's an illusion, a wall that only exists in your mind. And the moment you decide to push past it, you realize that the wall was never real in the first place. It was just a story fear told you to keep you from growing, from trying, from believing in yourself. But once you take that first step, once you prove to yourself that fear is nothing more than a feeling, you take away its power. Fear feeds on comfort. It thrives when you stay in the same routine, when you never challenge yourself, when you never step outside of what's familiar. That's why the moment you try to do something new, fear shows up. The moment you decide to take a risk, fear tries to talk you out of it. It wants you to stay where it's safe, where there's no uncertainty, where there's no chance of failure. But comfort is a slow death. It feels good in the moment, but over time, it robs you of everything you were meant to be. The people who succeed in life are not the ones who never feel fear. They are the ones who refuse to let fear dictate their future. They feel the same fear you do, but they move anyway. They take the leap. They make the decision. They put themselves in uncomfortable situations because they know that growth doesn't happen in comfort zones. They understand that if they wait until they feel completely fearless, they'll never do anything meaningful. Fear tricks you into thinking that failure is permanent, that if you try and don't succeed, it's over, that if you make a mistake, you'll never recover. But failure is not the enemy. Failure is the process. It's how you learn, how you improve, how you get better. Every person who has ever achieved greatness has failed more times than they can count. But they didn't let those failures define them. They didn't let those failures stop them. They used them as lessons, as fuel, as stepping stones towards success. Fear wants you to think small. It wants you to settle. It wants you to lower your expectations so you never risk disappointment. It wants you to aim for average, to stay in the background, to never take up too much space. Because as long as you think small, you'll never challenge the fear. You'll never push against it. But the moment you start dreaming bigger, the moment you start believing that you're capable of more, fear panics. It tries to pull you back down, tries to convince you that you're reaching too high, that you should just be grateful for what you have. But why settle for a life that doesn't fulfill you? Why accept less than what you were created for? Fear disguises itself as logic. It tells you that you're just being realistic, that you're just playing it safe, that you're just being practical. But deep down, you know the truth. You know when you're making excuses. You know when you're avoiding something because it scares you. You know when you're holding back because you don't want to face the possibility of failure. But at some point, you have to be honest with yourself. You have to ask yourself if you're truly making the best decision or if you're just letting fear control you. Fear will always be there, no matter how much you grow. No matter how much you accomplish, it will always try to creep in. Every new level brings a new level of fear. Every new challenge comes with new doubts, new insecurities, new reasons to hesitate. But the difference between those who stay stuck and those who rise is simple. One lets fear stop them. The other moves forward in spite of it. The only way to weaken fear is to face it, to do the thing that scares you, to take action even when you don't feel ready, because the more you challenge fear, the less control it has over you. The more you prove to yourself that fear is not real, the less influence it has in your life. Fear is always loudest before a breakthrough. Right before you step into something great, right before you make a major change, right before you achieve something meaningful, fear will scream the loudest. It will tell you to turn back, to retreat, to play it safe, because fear knows that if you push through, if you refuse to listen, if you keep going, you will reach a level where it can no longer hold you back. Fear tries to keep you from taking risks, but the real risk is doing nothing. The real risk is looking back at your life and realizing you let fear steal your potential, that you allowed it to hold you back from the things you were meant to do, that you let it rob you of opportunities, of experiences, of moments that could have changed your life. Every time you give in to fear, you make it stronger. Every time you back down, you reinforce the lie that fear is more powerful than you. But every time you choose courage, every time you take a step forward, every time you refuse to let fear dictate your decisions, you take your power back. Fear will never disappear completely, but you can choose to stop listening to it. You can choose to stop letting it be the reason you don't try. You can choose to stop allowing it to control your actions, your decisions, your future, because the truth is you are stronger than your fear. You are greater than your doubts. You are capable of more than you think. Fear is only temporary, but regret lasts forever. You may feel fear in the moment, but it will pass. You may feel doubt right now, but it won't stay forever. But if you let fear stop you, if you let it keep you from chasing your dreams, if you let it convince you to play it safe, that regret will stay with you. That regret will haunt you. That regret will be the voice that keeps asking, what if? Fear is a choice. You can choose to let it stop you, or you can choose to rise above it. You can choose to listen to it, or you can choose to prove it wrong. You can choose to stay stuck, or you can choose to move forward. The choice is yours. Pain is not the enemy. Pain is the process. It's the refining fire, the storm that shapes you, the weight that strengthens you. Most people spend their whole lives running from pain, avoiding struggle, doing everything they can to escape discomfort. But the truth is, the pain you're trying to avoid is the very thing that's preparing you for your purpose. Nobody grows in comfort. Nobody builds strength by avoiding resistance. If you want to get stronger, you have to lift heavy. If you want to become wiser, you have to go through trials. If you want to become the best version of yourself, you have to be willing to endure seasons that stretch you, challenge you, and push you beyond what you thought you could handle. Pain is the teacher that doesn't need permission. It shows up uninvited. It doesn't ask if you're ready. It doesn't care if it's inconvenient. Pain comes into your life and demands your attention. It forces you to grow. It forces you to change. It forces you to evolve. And in the moment, it feels unbearable. It feels like too much. But later, when you look back, you realize that every moment of pain had a purpose. You can't get to the next level without pain. You can't become who you're meant to be without going through struggle. Every setback, every heartbreak, every disappointment, it's all part of the journey. It's all part of the refining. And the worst thing you can do is try to avoid it, try to numb it, try to escape it. Because if you avoid the pain, you also avoid the growth. If you escape the struggle, you also escape the strength. Think about the people you admire, the ones who inspire you, the ones who have achieved great things. Do you think they got there without pain? Do you think they became who they are without struggle? Every person who has ever accomplished anything meaningful has gone through moments when they wanted to quit, when they doubted themselves, when they felt like they couldn't take another step, but they didn't stop. They pushed through the pain. They embraced the struggle. They understood that the pain wasn't there to destroy them. It was there to build them. Pain will introduce you to yourself. It will reveal what you're made of. It will show you how strong you really are. Because when everything is easy, when life is smooth, when there's no pressure, you don't really know what you're capable of. But when life knocks you down, when the weight feels unbearable, when the fire gets hot, that's when you find out who you really are. That's when you realize what you're made of. Some people let pain break them. They let it make them bitter, angry, resentful. They let it make them give up. They let it convince them that life is unfair, that they should stop trying, that they should stop believing. But others, they use the pain. They let it fuel them. They let it push them. They take every hardship, every disappointment, every setback, and turn it into motivation. They don't let pain stop them. They let it drive them. Pain is proof that you're growing. It's proof that you're stretching beyond your limits. It's proof that you're in the process of becoming who you were created to be. If you're feeling pain, if you're going through a tough season, don't see it as a sign to quit. See it as confirmation that you're on the right path. See it as evidence that you're leveling up. See it as proof that you're being prepared for something greater. The process isn't supposed to be easy. If it were easy, everyone would do it. If it were easy, everyone would be great. But greatness is reserved for those who can endure, who can suffer, who can go through the fire and come out stronger. The struggle is what separates the average from the great. The pain is what weeds out the ones who want it from the ones who are willing to work for it. Pain is temporary, but what you gain from it lasts forever. The lessons, the wisdom, the strength, those things stay with you. They make you better. They make you stronger. They make you wiser. You may not see it now. You may not feel it now, but one day you'll look back and realize that the very thing that felt like it was breaking you was actually building you. You don't get diamonds without pressure. You don't get strong muscles without resistance. You don't get growth without struggle. The process is painful, but the result is worth it. And if you can just endure, if you can just hold on, if you can just keep pushing, you will see that everything you went through was necessary. Every tear, every loss, every hard moment, it all had a purpose. Most people quit in the middle of the pain. They stop when it gets hard. They back down when the pressure increases. But that's the worst thing you can do, because if you quit in the middle, you don't get the reward. If you stop in the struggle, you don't see the breakthrough. You have to push through. You have to outlast the pain. You have to keep moving forward, even when everything in you wants to stop. Your mind will tell you that you can't take it. Your emotions will scream that it's too much, but you are stronger than you think. You are capable of more than you believe. You've survived things you never thought you could survive. You've overcome things you never thought you could overcome. And if you made it through those moments, you can make it through this. Pain is a signal. It's telling you that something is changing, that something is shifting, that you are becoming. It's not there to stop you, it's there to prepare you. And the moment you stop seeing pain as the enemy, the moment you start embracing it as part of the process, that's the moment you unlock a new level of strength, a new level of resilience, a new level of power. Every challenge you face is shaping you. Every struggle is refining you. Every painful moment is molding you into the person you need to be for what's coming next. And what's coming next is greater than what you've ever imagined. But you have to go through this first. You have to endure this season. You have to withstand the fire, because on the other side of this pain is everything you've been praying for, everything you've been working for, everything you've been believing for. You can either let the pain break you, or you can let it build you. You can either let it stop you, or you can let it strengthen you. The choice is yours.